Sorry about that, I just had the glasses on because it was sunny out there. Hi fans of online entertainment, welcome back to another video, and this video is not only going to be the continuation of the James Taylor box sets. Today is also my 4-year anniversary of uploading my Yes the Studio Albums 1969 to 1987 box set. So basically, I've now celebrated 4 years on YouTube, starting all the way back in 2016. And then it's a very sad shame because then, of course, David Bowie died the following day. And that's why tomorrow will be his 4-year anniversary. So, I got that bit out of the way, and now this is my first video of 2020. And I forgot to do a goodbye 2019 video, 2020 and hello 2020 video, but you get what I mean in the other two videos I did. Right, so at least I got that bit out of the way. So now we're going to be doing the James Taylor Original Album Classics. Now this is a box set that came out in 2010, and now in 2020 we celebrate 10 years of this box set, which is pretty cool. And and over here are the 5 studio albums. Now I've done the Lou Reed Original Album Classics box set, but I don't show my face on it except for the intros. But now that the video editor app doesn't work anymore, in terms of, you know, combining 2 videos into one, except if you use Filmora, I decided now that I'll show my face on it this time. So that's that. The front cover of that is from a James Taylor Greatest Hits box set. Now on the back cover we have all these albums mentioned with the actual track listing, which is pretty cool. So as you can see, it's got the next few albums after in the pocket. So it's got JT, Flag, Dad Loves His Work, That's Why I'm Here, and Never Die Young, which is pretty cool. Right, so without further ado, let's get started and get these all out. Okay, God, whoops. Okay, there they all go out. I'm living on the edge. They all fell out. Anyway, so I'll put the box over here to the side. And now, let's get started. So this is James Taylor's 8th studio album, JT, from 1977. And then here's the back. And this is James Taylor's best-selling studio album. I don't know how many copies were sold worldwide, but this album actually was nominated for Album of the Year in 1977, but it lost to Fleetwood Mac Rumours. And it was very funny because also the Eagles' Hotel California album was nominated for it as well. So in my opinion, around this time, James Taylor, to me, is put into the same league as Fleetwood Mac and the Eagles, which is pretty cool. So what we got in here? So this has, of course, a song in here called Handyman, which I really do enjoy. It's got very 70s folk sound, like the way Neil Young did. And even James Taylor appeared on some of the tracks from Neil Young's Harvest record. And with Handyman, it's like saying Handy Dandy, which is a Bob Dylan track from 1990's Under the Red Sky, which I really do enjoy as well. And what else we got? So we have the open track, Your Smiling Face, is also a song titled by Status Quo from their 1979 album, Whatever You Want. And we also have another track in there called I Was Only Telling a Lie, which is like saying I Was Only Joking, which is the Rod Stewart track from Footloose and Fancy Free, which coincidentally came out in the same year as this record here. But of course, this record was first because Rod's one came out in November of that same of 77. And as you can see, it's got 1977 on the side here. As you can just see, I'll just zoom it in. Pause the video if you need to. Like that. So yeah, who's that one? Then we have If I Keep My Heart Out of Sight. Basically with the Out of Sight, Out of Mind, which is from the album As Long As I Have You. And another one here called Another Great Morning, which is actually mentioned in Jake Bugg's Lightning Bolt from his debut album with Marlin. It's Another Pure Grey Morning. If he had Another Pure Grey Morning, that would have been really cool. And then we've Secret of Life, which is nearly like saying Secret of Life or Secret of, because secretive and secret of are very similar. And in terms of musicians who play on this, I think it's again Leyland Sklar, who plays with Phil Collins, is featured on this. And we got some, and yeah, loads of other cool stuff in here. Looking for Love on Broadway is another song here, and On Broadway is a Neil Young song from 1989's Freedom. And then The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway by Genesis from their 1974 record of the same name. And it's funny because when Phil Collins did a solo career, according to Tony Banks, he said that his solo career is showing his own James Taylor side, so like a contemporary James Taylor. Now, what I'll do is for the discs, all the discs here look the same, so I'll just pull out one of them just so you can get I'll just show you a bit of a copy, so I'll just give you a bit of a sample of it. So, JT and then James Taylor. Basically, the title is his initials, which is pretty cool. So yeah, this is a really cool one. Handyman is just a classic song. Right, so I'll stick this back into the box. So we had Nothing in 1978, which some artists don't have that. Not many of those cool singer-songwriters like Leonard Cohen, Paul Simon and James Taylor, they had Nothing in 1978, whereas Bob Dylan had Street Legal. Right, so let's go on to the next album. This is James Taylor's 9th studio album, Flag, from 1979, which just passed its 40th anniversary last year. Now, it is hard to read the track listing on the back, so I have to read it on the box. So he does a cover of the Beatles song Day Tripper, which you can find on the Blastmasters, which is leftover songs from the Beatles' back catalogue. And in that same year, 1979, Paul McCartney had Back to the Egg with Wings, which would be their last album that McCartney did with them. And then George Harrison had a self-titled album, which I think is one of Harrison's best solo works, and definitely one of his best of the 70s, alongside All Things Must Pass and Living in the Material World, and possibly 33 and the Third. So that's with Day Tripper. Because, of course, James Taylor is a big Beatles fan, as many of us are all Beatles fans. And then it's kind of funny because BSUR is really like saying back in the USSR, which is also a Beatles song, which is from the White Album. That's why on Caroline on My Mind, Paul McCartney is featured doing backing vocals. But I found out that George Harrison was actually uncredited on that one. Then we have Rainy Day Man, which is nearly the same as Rainy Day Women, which is a similar title of Rainy Day Women, which is a Bob Dylan track from Blonde on Blonde. And then we also have Company Man, which is the same like in Handyman. And then Company Man is like saying we can have either Good Company by Queen from the 45-year anniversary of Night at the Opera this year, and then Bad Company, which is the band featuring Paul Rodgers from Free, and then of course mentioned in Bob Dylan's Absolutely Sweet Marie. What else do we have? And yeah, loads of cool ones in here. And I like how with Flag it's got like a pink and yellow on that, and then it's got like a blue and a navy on that one. And again, I think Leyland Sklar is featured on this, as he did with some of the with many of the albums before he joined Phil Collins. And then we have, and yeah, loads of cool stuff on here as well. So let's stick this back into the box. Right, so now we leave the 70s behind, and then he gets Nothing in 1980. And then around this time, he was starting to split from Carly Simon. And I always see good chemistry between the two of them, especially when they do their cover of their song Mockingbird, which again is by Barclay James Harris. Well, it's a different song, but Mockingbird by Barclay James Harris from Once Again in 71. Right, so now we go on to 1981 now, and we get Dad Loves His Work from 1981. And then here's the back. This record came out around the same time as Status Quo's Never Too Late album, and also the album Face Dances as well. So let's see. So we have a song on here called Hard Times, which is also a song title by Kiss from 1979's Dynasty. And then there's also a song on here called I Will Follow, which is also a song titled by U2 from their 1980 record Boy, which is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. So I kind of would feel U2 might be quitting performing soon, but we don't know. And again, U2 Boy for me is second only to Phil Collins' Face Value as the greatest 80s debut album of all time. So that's that. Then we have London. Then we have a song on here called London Town, which is also an album titled by Paul McCartney with Wings, which again, Paul McCartney is featured on Caroline on My Mind. And then London Town is also mentioned in both Dire Straits' Sultans of Swing with Way On Down South London Town, and then also mentioned in Thin Lizzy's track Hollywood Down Your Luck with Not Like in London Town. Oh yeah, and that's from Renegade, by the way. And then we have another track on here called Stand and Fight, which is mentioned in the Monkees track Shades of Grey, which is on the Headquarters record. And then we have Summer's Here, which is basically mentioned in Racing in the Street by Bruce Springsteen, with Summer's Here and the time is right. But in the last one, he's like, but summer's gone and the time is right. And yeah. And then we have Sugar Trade, which could be like saying Sugar Baby, which is a Bob Dylan track from Love and Theft. And I think that's one reason how the Sugar Babes got their name from that, but that's not necessarily the case. If like the only reason why the Rolling Stones named themselves the Rolling Stones was from the Muddy Waters track Rolling Stone, which is just an example. And then again, all the discs are the same, like on Flag. So yeah, they're all the same. Basically, all the original album classics look the same with the discs. So yeah, that's that one. Stick it back into the box. Now, of course, I think Leyland Sklar then around this time was joining Phil Collins' solo band. So then James Taylor needed to reflect on his marriage breakup and other stuff that was going on around at the time. And he doesn't come back till 4 years later. We actually get one of my favourite album covers of his that he's ever had. That's Why I'm Here, from 1985. And then here's the back. And the guest stars in this record include Don Henley from the Eagles, and also Joni Mitchell, who at the time was doing her album Dog Eat Dog, which is when she moved on to Geffen Records. That's why in the 80s, Geffen was very popular around the time, like the way that Aerosmith had with Done With Mirrors, Permanent Vacation, Pump, and Get a Grip. And then, of course, Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. So what have we got in here? He does a cover of the Buddy Holly track called Every Day, which is a very nice song. And then there's a song called Limousine Driver, which is basically like Mr. Limousine Driver by Grand Funk Railroad from the 1969 self-titled album, commonly known as the Red Album. Excuse me. And then with Driver, we could have Baby Driver by both Kiss from 1976's Rock and Roll Over, and Simon and Garfunkel from this year's 50th anniversary of the magical Bridge Over Troubled Water album, which is cool. And then we've another track on here called Song for You Far Away, which is basically like saying a song for While I'm Away by Tin Lizzy from 1973's Vagabonds of the Western World. And I think tomorrow they're announcing who's getting inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I have a good feeling Tin Lizzy will be in there. Let's hope they do, especially now that I brought my interest back. And now this year is 40 years for Phil Lynnett's Solo in Soho album. And then For You, in there in song are song titles by Bruce Springsteen on Green's Raspberry Park, and Status Quo from Rockin' All Over the World. And then also with For You Blue by the Beatles on this year's 50th anniversary of Let It Be, which is pretty cool. And then what other tracks we have on here? Only a Dream in Rio. Rio is an album by Duran Duran, with of course Hungry Like the Wolf being the hit. And then we have other ones in here too. That's Why I'm Here is pretty nice too. And then as a matter of fact, there's a bonus track on here which is actually on the CD version, not on the original vinyl, called My Romance. And it's funny because on the album Under Raging Moon, there's a bonus track called Love Me Like You Do, which is nearly the same as the Little Mix track Love Me Like You. Oh, by the way, guys, do you like my poster on the wall from them? Yeah, I just thought I'd show you that in case you are looking in the background. So then another reference in Song for You Far Away, it's like saying So Far Away by Dire Straits from Brothers in Arms, which is celebrating 35 this year. Wow. So yeah, this is pretty cool. I like the cover too. And, you know, James Taylor to me did no wrong. Right, we can stick this back into the box. And then Leyland Sklar obviously appeared on the Phil Collins record No Jacket Required. There goes my telephone. I'll just get the canvas back into the box. Yeah. Okay, so now we come to the final record of the James Taylor series of box sets, and it is Never Die Young from 1988. And here's the back. And I like the wolf on the front. It's nearly the similar reference of Hungry Like the Wolf in Duran Duran. Right, so what have we got in here? So we have a song in here called Sweet Potato Pie, which is basically in a similar way of saying My Sweet Potato by Booker T and the MGs from their 1966 record And Now. And then we have a song called Valentine's Day, which is also a song titled by Bruce Springsteen on 1987's Tunnel of Love, which came out the previous year to this record. That's pretty cool. So, and then we have Runaway Boy, and then Runaway is a song titled by Del Shannon, and then we have another track on here called 1st of May. 1st of May 1972 was also declared as Marvin Gaye Day. Marvin Gaye died 4 years earlier before this record came out. And yeah, that's all I can really say on this one. Not much to say for this one. But it's a pretty cool album cover. And you know, it's really hard to get this thing back into the box, because I tried to do a sample on this before, but it can't go back in. Oh no, look, it's stuck. Oh god, get this back in. Come on, don't be an embarrassment. Ah, there you go. So that's it. That's the James Taylor Original Album Classics box set. Hope you all enjoyed it. James Taylor, one of my all-time favourite artists in the world. Easily. He's up there with Dylan, Little Mix and Kiss. And then he's also there with Phil Collins and Foreigner. And then also Mark Knopfler and a couple of others. I might do a list of the 64 male musicians of who inspired me as a musician in the near future. And then, of course, the female band on my poster there. So anyway, thank you very much. And James Taylor also had some future albums too. Like, he had New Moon Shine from 1991. And then he had Hourglass from 1997, which won an award for him for Album of the Year, I think, alongside Bob Dylan's Time Out of Mind. And then he also had 2002 with October Road, which surprisingly, October Road was his last album of original material for several years. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm sorry for messing with my glasses. The thing just broke. I'll fix it in a minute. And then he had a Christmas album in 2004 and 2006. And then he did an album called Covers in 2008, which featured, of course, his cover of Suzanne by Leonard Cohen, which I really like. And then he came back in 2015 with Before This World, which was back to original covers. And now, I think this year, he might be bringing out a new record. Somebody can correct me in the comment box below. Thank you very much, guys. Remember to subscribe to my channel. Leave your comment below on what you think of James Taylor. And I'll see you in the future for more videos. Thank you. Bye-bye.